Hello, I am Dr. Wily. You probably know me as the scientist behind almost all the tech on Media Dimension and Misery Maya. Or maybe not. I don't actually pay attention to how popular those shows are. But you all probably know of my family from 20XX. Apparently my grandfather's actions are a big deal here. And you only know about 10 of them. And finally, after years of working for this studio, I have a chance to pull myself out from the shadow of my family's name. And why not start by reviewing the game where my grandfather first went evil? Except I kind of made a deal that this wasn't going to be a Let's Play show. So let's actually sit down and look at the Mega Man instruction manual. Let's go! Well, first, let's take a moment to thank Ryan Fay for contributing this manual, and Vim's Lair, which is the website I found the manual scan on. And now let's start with this. Okay, our cover art is Mega Ape, holding a blaster pistol type thing. This is what happens when you tell someone to draw cover art with only the basic description of the game and not let him play it. After the thanks for buying the game and the cartridge safety precautions, we get helpful hints. Did I miss a page? Well, no, because the numbers are going in sequential order. Strange. No story, no controls, just here's a few hints, good luck. Oh, and I didn't know that life meter was supposed to be thermometer-shaped. Not the first thing I would have actually thought of. It doesn't help that a few lines later they say that when Mega Man is bodily struck, which is different than spiritual damage the games tend to use, that degrees of energy are lost. Yes, as a scientist, I know that degrees are used to measure a lot of different things. If not temperature, it's mostly angles. But coupling that with the thermometer thing, does Mega Man overheat and explode upon dying? That makes sense with most enemies, but maybe not Iceman. Oh, you can also win energy capsules, which are illustrated below, along with the creepy what-up icon. And I swear it is cross-eyed in this. Also drawn in is the, oh god, I am not going to try to pronounce that, points item that only appears once in the game. Oh, and for those of you questioning the whole point system in a Mega Man game, that was a thing back then. Mega Man 1 had a point system. Now get over it, because the rest of this is going to amaze you. The next page shows the Magnet Beam, an item that can be found in a Lechman stage. It also doesn't tell you how to acquire it, it just tells you it's there. And considering a Lechman's difficulty, this seems like a cruel trick to get poor kids to go and die multiple times to this electrical nightmare. Also, the final 2 paragraphs tells you about how Mega Man gains weapons from destroying the Robot Masters. I mention this because this is the only place in the manual this is covered. The next page is for the story of Mega Man! Okay, let's see what we got here. It's Mega Man versus the powerful leaders and fighting forces of Monsteropolis. Really? That is the best you could come up with? Monsteropolis? Alright, moving on. That strange, multifaceted land of robot-like humanoids. Brilliant scientist Dr. Wright, we now call him Dr. Light in this country, conceived the construction of fully operational, human-like experimental robots to perform specific everyday duties. So, wasn't the first line hinting that this was commonplace in Monsteropolis? So why would people give 2 shits if Dr. Wright made fully operational human-like experimental robots? Anyway, moving on. Something I think I'll be saying a lot through this story. Dr. Wright and his assistant, Dr. Wily, who is in no way evil, encouraged with their first near-human robot, Mega Man, proceeded to develop 6 additional humanoids, all programmed to perform prescribed rituals. Okay, I guess this is before we came up with Robot Masters, so they had to go with humanoids? They then cover the 6 humanoids, but don't really give you any clue on how to beat them, and considering barely covering the weapons thing, that ain't surprising. Afterward, there is more story. But with the exception of Mega Man, all of Dr. Wright's near-human robots experimentations went awry. I think someone got paid by the letter to write this. Assistant Dr. Wily turned disloyal. Shocker. Reprogramming Dr. Wright's humanoids, now bent on destroying opposition so Dr. Wily could control the world and all its resources. Well, of course! Resisting programming? Or perhaps Dr. Wily forgot about him or just didn't care about him, as later versions of the story says. Mega Man is chosen the Defender of the Universe. Seems a bit drastic. I doubt that the galaxy's in danger, let alone the universe. You don't even go anywhere that could be considered space until Mega Man 3. And that's only if you consider Gemini Man's stage as a space-themed one. If you don't, you're going to have to wait till Mega Man 5. Mega Man dares to single-handedly penetrate. Get your mind out of the gutter. 7 separate empires of Monsteropolis. Still sounds dumb. Eliminating the leaders and followers of these sovereignties. Get ready for some very exciting challenges. This story is hilarious, since if you go to a Mega Man specific wiki, you can find this story exactly as it's written here. Also another story underneath it that makes it kind of look like they went and did this. The next page finally shows the controls. And there is some problems for starters. They don't mention what the start and select buttons do, which is pause the game and open up the weapon select menu, 2 important functions, but this might be able to hide the pause glitch in the first game. Second problem is the explanation for the 4 separate action tips, which has 2 of these that aren't right. When could you crouch down in a Mega Man game? Oh, and also, up doesn't make Mega Man leap upward! This is jarring, because they say the A button makes Mega Man jump. This might be explained by using ladders, but that is a weird way to say go up and down ladders. Also, Controller 1 moves Mega Man in a Player 1 game? What, was this supposed to be a 2-player game? How awesome would that have been? Saying that now, though, it could have ended horribly, as a lot of 2-player games on the NES were actually made harder by adding the second player. So, much like any multiplayer game, it can get jarring if all players aren't on the same skill level, at least in a co-op setting. So, this might have been a better option to leave out. On the other side of the manual, tells you to press the stop button and how to choose a stage. However, it only seems like they thought you could go counterclockwise around the select screen, since they only tell you to tip the ah and repress the stop button, says will begin the encounter with the enemy. Character selected. Which makes it sound a lot like you're going into battle with the Robot Master, instead of having to go through the stage, but nitpicking. Also, special feature. Don't worry about that. That is just saying that you will gain access to Dr. Wily's level after the other 6 have been defeated. But the 7th and final stage is a bit of a lie, since Wily has 4 levels to it, like he always does. Almost done. All that's left is going over the pictures, and that's easy. Apparently, Dr. Wright is also evil, and you can earn 50 to 100,000 points for defeating him. Other than that questionable character placement, we just have pictures of the enemies that appear, and where you can find them. Also, how many points killing each one of them is worth. The only one that appears in almost every stage is this guy named Big Eye, which I heard is the bane of most gamers' existences. Also, apparently killing Dr. Wily gives you 200,000 points. I'm sorry, isn't that like if League of Legends gave you 50 gold for destroying the Nexus? They do? Well, what the heck are you going to use that for? Oh, and the last page has the symbols that were already illustrated before for us. The first Mega Man manual seems to have been written by the same guy who did the cover work. It touches on some details, but a lot of the helpful stuff is not covered. Now, the story being rewritten and the character name changes are forgivable. As the series moved on, they ironed out some details, like why Mega Man was not reprogrammed. But the cover art is still a major joke among Capcom fans. That is, if there are any Capcom fans left after the Mega Man Legends 3 fiasco. And I doubt anyone else bothers to read it, as the other 9 games are almost exactly the same. you.